Jeff, unfortunately, this weekend was an absolute bloodbath of injuries. We're going to go through some of these before we jump out of here. We mentioned Ronald Acuña. That was a frustrating one. I was watching the game. He dove back in the bag and kind of grabbed his lower abdomen, and you could tell he hurt something in there.
Yeah.
And then he scores on a hit 35 seconds later and slides headfirst into home plate, and he's on his knees in pain. I was like, how do you slide on your stomach when you just hurt your stomach?
I think it's just instinctual.
I know it is, but you think at the point, the coach is like, hey, if you score on this double, don't slide head first into home, or don't slide at all, or slide feet first, or maybe get it in his head at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they're going to preach during however long this absence is.
So they said after the game he has an abdominal strain, and like you said, they're going to find out on Monday if he has to go in the IL or not.
Yeah, you were asking if that was the worst head first slide you've ever seen. I think it's every head first slide at first base that are after hitting especially if it's not avoiding a tag and just trying to beat the throw. I mean that's dumber. But yeah,
and everybody always jams their thumb in that play too. And Ramon Laureano did it on the second game of the season. It drove me nuts too. But tough though. I mean, Acuna has been unbelievably good, and obviously, if you took him, he was one of the top 3 picks, top 5 picks in the draft, wherever your draft was. But he was won in a lot of drafts. Losing him for any amount of time is not good for any team.
That's right. And everybody that was like, "Hey, I took Acuna over Tatis. How about that?" That
there was a lot of, this is why you don't take a pitcher first when Acuna was going off, and I'm like, oh well, let's see.
Yeah, there's a lot of and. Silent was like, yeah, I did take Acuna and TGF by eye. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's right. I took him over Tatis. How about them apples? Yeah, I didn't really tweet it, but
first 3-week victory laps drive me nuts more than I know people like it and they're having fun with it, but it still drives me nuts.
Yeah, and I dislike the lectures more than anything else.
Lectures are bad. And it's we got to remember it's a 6-month season. I think everybody's kind of in that 60-game season mode where everything was like a 3-game losing streak was massive, and now it's everybody it's a long. We're gonna get in July and everybody's gonna realize how damn long the season is. But Lance Lynn, who obviously if you took him, he was in the 4th round. He's probably your starting pitcher 1 or 2. 10-day IL with a right trapezius strain. It sounded like they were pretty optimistic about this not being too long term, but anytime you have a pitcher with anything going on, you definitely get worried.
Yeah, for sure. And didn't see this one coming at all. I mean, he's been good. He's been very good.
He was the guy that everybody's like, well, if you need a 200-inning pitcher, it's going to be Lance Lynn. He's the one guy who's going to go out there and be the horse.
He threw a complete game shutout. 11 Ks on that one there. He pitched well against Cleveland his next time out. Went 6 innings with 10 Ks. He's the guy that prides himself on, I am going to throw 100 pitches. And I fear the reverberations, because there's this whole game being played in the media about the role of analytics in baseball. And, a lot of anti-analytic pushback. We won't name names, A-Rod and Matty V, but it's certainly not limited to them. And I cringed at that, and I was like, yeah, well, see, this is why, or something like that. But this is not also time to victory lap on that either, because you don't know if it's caused by his workload, or that's the thing that's kind of the difficult part is the science isn't necessarily there. Setting a pitch count, 100's a great number, but it's not necessarily the reason why anything is. There is some art to it there, watching how a pitcher is throwing and seeing how he's, in game. You can just watch how he's doing. You can look at his velocity readings in game, things like that. Yep. But there's a lot more to it there.
The one that really worries me is Steven Strasburg. He went on the 10-day IL with right shoulder inflammation. He's obviously a right-handed starter. You hate to see that. There's a clip of him during his last start massaging his shoulder and rubbing his arm. No timetable given, and it's Strasburg. It's hard to feel super optimistic about this one.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, it's always something, it seems like. And he had the one magical year.
Yep.
I'm glad he got paid.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I mean,
me too.
Because you know what? He won them a World Series.
Yeah, he was awesome in the playoffs that year.
Yeah, and there's plenty of other, and he was the target of a lot of angst. Some of it's on him, some of that's on his agent. Either way, Yeah, he went through a lot. He caused a lot of grief. Yeah, it's tough. I didn't want him. I was scared of him. For the although he's much more reasonably costing in the fifth, sixth round in most drafts, but Yet I still wasn't there for that. I would not trade for him as a buy low right now.
I don't think I would either. I just shoulders of the pitcher. It's hard to see that being fully right anytime soon. Starling Marte, we mentioned earlier, he tweaked his side in his last at bat of the game on Sunday in the ninth inning. He was removed from the game right away. Feels like it's going to be on the IL with an oblique kind of thing tomorrow morning. We don't know that yet. We don't know how serious it was. There was a quote afterwards from Don Mattingly saying we need to get him out of there before he took another swing and made it a lot worse. We don't want to lose him for 6 weeks. We'd rather lose him now for a little bit of time. So I imagine he's the key of their offense. He is the 3-hitter on their team. That's the best player on their offense. Brutal for them, brutal for fantasy teams. I think he had 2 home runs and 3 stolen bases already. He was hitting for a high average, had a bunch of runs scored already. He was hitting the ball really well, playing really well. I have him in the main event, so that it's all about me. I'm hoping we get a quick 10-dayer, but with obliques, it's just the risk of recurrence is just so high.
Sucks when you lose a 3rd-round player.
Yeah, it does.
Shu and I have him in one of our 2 mains also.
Yep.
And it sucks that they don't play tomorrow. So you may have to make a decision right away about opportunity cost. I almost certainly benching him. I mean,
me too. That's the joy of the bye week offensive players too. Is if he somehow avoids the IL, he missed a couple games Wednesday, Thursday, and he's back Friday. I'll be so happy he's back Friday that I wouldn't care about missing a couple games anyway.
Right. I mean, and as if we need any reminder that that's the route to go, just look at the next player on our list, Christian Yelich. I mean, day to day, do I start him? It's against the Cubs' lousy pitching staff. A lot of games. I'll just try to write it out. Maybe I'll just miss 2 games. Or you'll miss the whole week and he goes on the IL after the fact anyhow.
Yeah, it was like he was making progress, then all of a sudden the progress stopped, is what they said. So I was like, that's good. I finally took him out. I took him out for the weekend, so I did get him out this weekend.
So you had a big 0 for 4 days.
I did have a big 0. I had a big 0 for 4 days. I took him out in the 12-teamer because I had decent options in the main event. It's like I'm not gonna. 2 days of Yelich is going to be better than anybody I'm going to put in, so I left him in. The 2 days did not turn out to be better. So I worry about Yelich because he's back. He's had back issues before. We talked about him last week a little bit because he was starting to have the soreness and he had missed the game on Sunday. And you have him for stolen bases, you have him for power, and the back affects both of those. And I hope he just gets fully healthy because he's one of those guys. When he's healthy, he's really fun to watch and great for baseball. And I hope we get him fully back here pretty quick.
Yeah, and I think we all just wish they would have put him on the IL to begin with there.
For sure.
So I can't give them credit for they're not taking any chances with their guy here because they kind of were for a while.
Yeah, and it's April. Just if he's got something going on, just you have 10 days. It's not 15 days anymore, but oh well. Yeah. Gavin Lux is pretty much exactly what the Dodgers did to that example. He missed a couple of games. They have put him on the IL. It sounds like he's gonna be back pretty quickly. But a sore right wrist is always something I'm worried about with a hitter. That's sore wrists tend to lead to power being sapped, etc. So I'm hoping we see something there. Lux had not been very good to start the year. We're kind of hoping for the breakout this year. It hasn't been there yet. He's been playing almost every day, and you just wonder with the Dodgers, when he comes back, is the playing time there right away? McKinstry's playing really well and can play some second base. Yep. Chris Taylor's been hitting home runs and been smoking the ball. It's just not a team that you want to miss some time and have to come back and kind of earn your way back in because it's hard to get back in the lineup.
It is. It absolutely is.
That team is so freaking stacked, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, McKinstry, he wasn't out of nowhere. He was a prospect. Clay Link was on him and all that, but
still out of nowhere.
Again, this is another, not old. He's 25. It's a little different. He's not 28 or something like that. He's not quite Whit Merrifield, but he's another, less heralded prospect that earned his way up and is ready to go when they need him. It's kind of interesting. Did you get any McKinstry this week?
I did not. He was actually picked up in both my mains last week, and then in the online, I just needed pitching and my offense was kind of fine, so I didn't really do it. I worry with him with playing time. Obviously now with Lux out and Bellinger on the IL, also he's probably getting a pretty good run here. But I was not super aggressive. I probably would have been more in the main event when I needed outfielders, but he was gone already.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the team's just insane. Tim Lecastro finally got caught stealing and also dislocated his pinky on the caught stealing, which is kind of disappointing. He's went on the IL, so if you've been using him for stolen bases, he's going to be out for a little bit. Cavan Biggio, a bruised right hand, hasn't started since Thursday. Is the one that is tough because the Jays play 5 games this week. He's kind of tough to use. They don't play Monday, then they play 2 games at Boston. It's kind of hard to use him this week.
It is.
At least for the first half.
Same thing though with Lux, with him, it's hand, wrist, and all that.
Yeah.
With Lux, they were saying, oh, he could feel, but he couldn't swing the bat. Well, yeah, that's kind of important for our purposes there. and a hand. Do you think you're going to steal as many bases sliding head first? One of the positives about Biggio is he doesn't get caught. Oh, okay. Lecastro gets hurt sliding head first. It's like, taking away the one thing that they do well. That's not fun.
Ozzie Albies Mitch Saturday and Sunday with a sore right calf. Just more injuries for the Braves. The Braves do not play Monday. Also, they also have a 5-game week. So another guy that's tough to play the first half of the week. You just don't know he's going to play Tuesday or not.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So, man, all of a sudden, a lot of teams are getting like this. Yeah. They're getting piled on. That's the thing.
It was like all this weekend too. Like it was kind of okay, and then Saturday hit. There was a bunch, and then today was just injuries all over the place today. Like to big name guys too.
Right, and just losing a big name guy is one thing, but also losing 2 other guys at his position. I mean, that's tough. I mean, the Jays, the Braves. It's just like that's brutal.
Trent Grisham was a late scratch today with some left quad tightness. We don't know severity there. Obviously, a guy that. Had come out and hitting really well, running a little bit, had a stolen base. They do play tomorrow, so we should know if he's in the lineup. They have 7 games this week, as we mentioned earlier, but really tough pitching. But he's a lefty, and I think they face 6 righties this week, so you definitely want him in the lineup if he's playing. The Astros, Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve have been out for on the COVID IL. They were cleared for team workouts. It sounds like from whatever Dusty Baker's saying, manager Dusty Baker, sounds like they might be back on Thursday when their road trip ends. Sounds like they're all kind of shooting for Thursday when they get the Angels at home.
Yeah, which is a shame because we're missing Coors Field for these guys. And look, Yordan Alvarez was probably gonna have a tough call anyhow. Because unless he's gonna play first base, he's not gonna play. So that's a bummer. But you can. I guess you're going to have to make that hard call anyhow. Typically, I've been like starting Cruz even then, like that opening weekend. He got a pinch hit RBI single. I mean, it's like
you want that pinch hit grand slam, which is what you want.
Yeah, of course you do. I want the fairy tale, but whatever. But Pretty Women references in a baseball podcast. Here we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We mentioned Rafael Dolis earlier. Sounds like Jordan Romano is likely to be back from his 10-day IL stay in the minimum. I'm going to believe that once I see him on the mound. I'm not sure I'm fully buying that, but it sounds like it's not going to be long-term. Whereas Julian Merriweather sounds like it's going to be like 6 to 8 weeks for his oblique, which is rough. He had just kind of taken over the closer role. He actually came in a save opportunity in that he pitched the 1 out in the 8th inning. He was going to come back up for the 9th. All of a sudden, someone else was in there for the 9th. We're like, what's going on? That's weird that they took him out, even though they scored an extra run.
Yeah.
But it turns out that he had the oblique. And so I think it's a long-term thing, and that's tough after some people spent a lot of money in fab on him just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. I saw him getting cut, Merriweather getting cut in some places. The thing about, isn't this the same thing Romano had last year, though, at the end of the season last year? I know he had some physical issue, and I thought it was his elbow. I thought it was ulnar neuritis then, too. No, it was actually a finger issue. I lied again. I'm lying a lot these days. I got to stop doing that.
It seems like with both Romano and Merriweather, though, the issue is staying healthy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a scary sounding thing. Ulnar neuritis. I mean, that's just but it's not. It's I looked at his injury updates in our on RotoWire, and it wasn't that. So I guess that's it. But I just know that he got shut. He didn't make the play. He wasn't available for the playoffs because of that finger issue. So it's a different issue entirely.
If nothing else, it tempered my bids on Dolis just because the threat of Ronald being back on next Sunday was enough to kind of pull me back off Dolis a little bit.
Yeah. Talk about injuries compiling, though. Merriweather, Romano, I think Phelps has been banged up. I know Chatwood's on the IL right now. Of course, Yates to begin with there. I mean, that's
right. Yeah. That's a bullpen that looked really different 3.5 weeks ago. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Keep Ryan Hayes on some good news. He's playing in a rehab game at the alternate site on Tuesday. There is some talk that he could be activated for probably next weekend. I think he might be back with the Pirates then. So that's a good one because that's one that we thought might have been a hamate or something like that. It might be a really serious injury. Turns out maybe he's only going to miss about 3 weeks.
The funny thing is those hamate injuries are like back in 2 weeks and hitting. I don't feel any pain anymore. They got rid of it. I'm fine. And others are like out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I don't know the distinction.
Or you're Matt Olson and you're out for a while, then you come back and hit 35 home runs.
That's the positive example I was thinking of. And then on the Rangers, who is it? It was somebody good on the Rangers. It was Joey Gallo. had
that's right.
the forever hamate, the super hamate.
Somewhere Rich Hill's happy.
Yes.
Gary Sanchez got hit by a foul tip. He does not apparently put his hand behind his back when he catches, and his hand's like just out floating out there. And I forget who it was. It was who's the catcher that does the Yankees game? John something. He used to be their catcher. I can't think of his name right now, but he was. It was maybe John Flaherty. Flaherty, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know he does them.
He was talking. He was in the studio, and he came on. He's like, I can't believe that Sanchez doesn't put his hand behind his back or behind his right ankle or behind his shin guard. And it was a foul ball, and Sanchez's hand is out there and just got smoked by it. But he got lucky. The X-rays are negative. Sounds like he might return on Tuesday from that bruised hand. So he might have. It looks like he dodged a pretty tough bullet there.
Man, I see these foul tips all the time, and especially with pitchers throwing harder and harder these days. Yeah, or a cross-up for that matter. Someone got one right in the face mask today, and
those ones in the face mask. I know that those have to just rattle your cage right there. Those are.
I mean, it just looks horrible.
It does, especially and the umpires get them too. It's like guy's throwing 100, gets fouled back, and right over the catcher's shoulder. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
So that's kind of the news notes. I had a couple players I want to talk about, but we've kind of got a little bit longer. I'm going to go with just a couple guys here really quick. I want to ask you. Are you worried at all about any of these players, real quick? Are you worried at all about Kyle Tucker, Austin Meadows, or Yoan Moncada?
No. I should I be? I don't know.
I actually don't think you should be. The only one I'm 5% worried about is Moncada, just because he's not hitting anything hard so far.
Sure.
His hard hit rate's under 30%. Hasn't attempted a stolen base since 2019, so none this year, none last year. Hasn't been getting on a base lot, so that's probably the biggest factor.
Isn't that funny, though? He ran like the first week of spring training, stole a base, like, oh, he's back, we're fine, don't have to worry about that. I don't have Moncada this year anywhere, so I didn't realize how bad he was hitting.
K rate's a little elevated, he's hitting 200. He's still walking, he's over 10% walk rate. The BAB's only 242, so I think he's gonna be okay. He had a ball in Fenway over the weekend that probably would have been a grand slam if it happened in May. He actually kind of bat flipped it like it was gone and got caught at the wall in kind of the triangle in right center field. So one of those
that's a tough spot too.
Tough spot. Like you could tell he thought he got it, and it's just suddenly a stat like was really different. You add another 4 RBIs on there, but he's been rough. He's the only one I'm a little worried about because he's not hitting the ball hard. I looked closer at Meadows and Tucker, and they're both hitting the ball hard. My only thing with Meadows is the swinging strike rate is last year was a concern, but maybe it was the COVID stuff and all that. He was a 9% swinging strike rate in 2019. He's back at 12% this year, so he's still swinging and missing a lot. Mm-hmm. But his BABIP's 229. He's hitting the ball hard. He's hitting a lot of fly balls. Like a 55% fly ball rate, which was hit in 2020 also. His launch angle is 25 degrees right now. It's 16.7 in 2019. So he's got some of that stuff from last year that's kind of leaking in a little bit, but I'm not worried yet. But I'm kind of monitoring Meadows too.
Yeah, and again, the ball is different this year. So, yeah. By the way, I lied again. Moncada is only on one of my main event teams. Duh. But
Moncada?
Right. Yeah. So
there hasn't been much to watch or pay attention to yet. So, Kyle Tucker, by the way, I'm not worried about at all. His BABIP's 159. He's a 44% hard hit rate, 12.5 barrel. It's going to come. He's hitting too many fly balls. 52% is probably good for home runs. He has 4 of those, but bad for his batting average. But launch angle is a little bit high, but I think that's a first 3 week kind of thing. I think that Tucker's going to be fun.
It's kind of like Joey Votto was, where he's hitting all these rockets, but right at people. The difference was Votto's like, I need to hit more fly balls. And he started to, and he's had 3 home runs in the last week.
Trevor Story's very much the way too. He has, I think, 9 balls that have gone over 385 feet, and he has no home runs so far. It's just he's had horrible, a ton of hard hit balls, and it feels like he has no hits, but he's still hitting 260 or whatever it is. But I think he's due for a really big week here. He seems like he's squaring the ball up, just a lot of bad luck right now.
Yeah, it's funny because when people were talking about the Rockies having a heavy early home schedule. It's like, no, that's not a good thing.
If I had a Rocky, I want them to be on the road all of April and then just stack all those games in July and August when it's 98 degrees in Denver. And rather than, 29 degrees the other day? I mean, that's insane.
That's what it's going to be on Tuesday, too, I think they're saying. Obviously, there's a snow out on Friday.
Good luck hitting 98 when it's 29 degrees outside.
Yep.
That's going to hurt your hands. But last question I have for you. Are you in that Vlad Guerrero has fully arrived and the launch angle and the home runs are there? Or are you still where are you with Vlad right now?
Yeah, I wish I had him in more places. How about that?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think that it's looks like a lot of the launching stuff. I mean, it's obviously a small sample, but it looks like he's lifting the ball a little more, but while still hitting the ball as hard. And it's some of his home runs are majestic. When he hits home runs, they are home runs.
Second main event, I had a choice between Flaherty and Vlad. I wish I could redo that pick, even though knowing what happened to the starting pitchers.
Second pitcher or first pitcher?
Second pitcher, 3.6. Glasnow and Burns already gone at that point. I thought, well, okay, I'm taking value here, and I know pitchers are just going to go insane after that, and they did because they kept going insane the entire draft. And I would have had to chase there later on, but man, every time he gets up there, it's I definitely feel a little FOMO going on there.
Yeah, Fletty's last two starts have been really good. The first one was bad, but seems like he's settling in his last couple. But still not going to deep into games. He only threw 5 innings last start, but one earned run his last 2 starts is. I think it's coming along. I think that there's this FOMO with Vlad because he's fun and playing really well, but I think that team build wise, maybe getting the ace there might have still made sense.
Yeah, probably did. But I'm looking at what I did at the position. Alonso hasn't done a ton yet, and Christian Walker, didn't do much and then is hurt. Yeah. If I had Vlad, I'd be like, oh, I think it's fine there.
Yeah, my 3-10 pick of Glasnow so far is making me very pleased.
Yeah, is that the one that was doing very well in the overall, or both doing very well in the overall?
They're both doing all right. They're it's kind of both, and then they're around 50-ish or so, something like that.
Not bad.
I admittedly don't look at standings a ton the first month of the season. I know where I am ballpark, and I look on Sundays what categories I need and stuff, but I don't pay a lot of attention to exactly where I am. But yeah, I think they're right around 50.
Come on, you're on live scoring 17 times a day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely not. A lot of people say that I'm lying about that. I hate live scoring. It just kind of stresses me out. I have enough stress in my life. I don't need to add that to it.
I like following what my players are doing.
I do. I mean, I know that. I mean, I'm watching enough games and looking at box scores. I know when a team scores, I go and look at it. I just don't look at what that home run did for me in the overall standings
fair. Not until
April
September.
7th. Yeah. Sure. If I'm 5th overall in September, I'm probably looking a lot more than I am in the first 5 months of the season, no doubt. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. We always very much appreciate that. If you could please rate or review the podcast, please do that. If you want to follow Jeff on Twitter, he's at Jeff_Erickson. I am at Scott Jenstad. If you want to hit us up there about questions or stuff talked about next week, you certainly could do so. Other than that, hope everybody has a great week 4 of the fantasy baseball season. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to be back at you next Sunday night. So take care. Have a good one.
Try RotoWire today, free for 10 days. Get our premium tools, rankings, analysis, and breaking news alerts. No credit card required. Go to rotowire.com/try.